Hotel safety is a serious issue. Now, I did a video on this channel for sweeping for bugs, and I've had so many people, predominantly females, reach out to me and said they've had issues, people recording them, people trying, and by recording I mean video recording, people trying to do weird and unfortunate things, and you hear about this all the time. This is becoming a serious issue. Now, you can check out my bug sweeper video. I'll leave a link for it up here in the cards. And I go through step by step of what you could do and how you could do it cheap, affordably, discreet, and sweep for bugs, which I always recommend. The first thing you do when you go to a hotel is sweep for bugs. Now, I'm going to give you a bunch of really good tips and advice here today, so I recommend you buckle up and stay for this whole video because it will be worth your time. In Operation Hotel Safety. Now, some of you may be thinking, Cody, you're not that important and neither am I. Why are people bugging you? Like, that just doesn't that seem extreme? Aren't you watching too much TV? Well, I don't watch a lot of TV. But no, it's not extreme. Unfortunately, with the world we live in, it isn't that they're targeting me or you. Now, they are targeting celebrities and things like that, but they're targeting anybody where they can provide some value to extort some information, whether they can use that information, act on that information. It's another way of hacking, really. And so some hackers will hack into your computer. Other hackers will try to hack into your life and get information, okay? Try to get whatever they can recorded and use it against you to extort you. And it happens every day at a massive high rate. I've got a really good friend who works for the FBI, and they deal with these cases at rapid succession. It's scary how many of them come in. So it isn't that I think I'm so important. I've been checking for bugs for a long time. I carry a bug detector in every hotel I go with, and I've never found any. I'm just not that important. But eventually I probably will. I have found some shady stuff, and I can talk about that later. But I've never found any bugs, and I've never found any cameras trying to record me. They do exist on a very, there's a lot of them. Okay, there's just simply a lot of them. Now, what can you do? How can you structure this? Well, there's a few things you can do. The first thing you should do is you should bring your own lock. Never trust a hotel lock. This is the one that I recommend. I'll leave a link for this stuff down below. You guys can check it out. This is super affordable and super valuable. It goes into the door jamb. It works on virtually every hotel lock, digital or not. You put it in here, drop it down like this, and the door can't open, and you're set. And yeah, some hotel locks come with the thing on the door, or, you know, I live here in Vegas. We have some of the nicest hotels in the United States of America by far. And the security is pretty decent in Vegas, but you still deal with a lot of shadiness. So bring in your own door lock. This is literally a very inexpensive, very good solution, and you have a lot of peace of mind. And this thing works shockingly well. I recommend you check it out. That's the first thing. The next thing is valuables. What do you do with your valuables? Well, the first thing I recommend is bringing a pinhole camera. So there's a lot of pinhole cameras. This one's actually a Sharpie. And you're probably not going to be able to see this on camera, but I'm going to do a separate video. In my bug sweeping video, I did a video where I showed you guys 4 or 5 micro cameras. There's actually a camera in this Sharpie. It's a magic Sharpie. It's for magic tricks. But I recommend you bring a camera. I've got them in like key fobs. I've got a whole bunch of different ones. You can get them for pretty inexpensive. And what I'll do is I'll leave it out and I'll leave it recording when I leave. And it's just a pin. It's sharp. Nobody cares. But it'll show me if anybody was in my room, and it'll show me what they were doing. So I will film in my room, and usually they'll have a decent SD card in them, and you can just film. But I'm always, whenever I leave my room, I always leave a camera on. And that way, if somebody comes in there, I can see what they did. And if they didn't do anything wrong, okay. And if they did something wrong, well, then I'll have video footage proof. Because the hotel is never, ever going to side with you. No matter what happened, it's your fault. They are never going to take responsibility, because if they do, it's going to cost them. It's not going to cost the employee. It's going to cost them. So you need to actually have proof. Now, I'm not telling you to record. I'm just telling you what I do. Okay, so those are 2 things. That's going to harden your security. It's going to allow you to record, and it's going to allow you to lock. Now, should you use the hotel safe? I would argue you shouldn't. I would argue you take your valuables with you. First of all, if you're traveling, you should travel reasonably light. Now, for me, I usually will take a backpack or a satchel, something like that, and I'll keep most of my valuables. I play poker, so sometimes I stay in Vegas, even though I live in Vegas, have a house in Vegas. I'll, maybe take one of my backpacks or a satchel, something like that. I'll have my laptop in there. I'll have some cash in there, and I'll have whatever other personal items in there. If I stay at a hotel, I might leave like my bag with like clothes and stuff, but I don't leave much else as far as personal items. You should never leave a laptop out because you can plug into that laptop and steal information off it, even if it's locked. And if it's Microsoft, oh, there's no such thing as locked on crappy Microsoft. If it's Linux, that's the best option. Apple is a little bit better and it's a little bit tougher to get into, but even Apple, you can upload a lot of malware. There's a lot of things you can do even with Apple computers and even Linux computers. None of these things are bulletproof. So you should never leave physical access to your computer around. Should you use a hotel safe? No, in my opinion, you shouldn't. Most of them are very, very easy to pick. Shockingly easy to pick. And I'm not talking, a lot of them are digital, so they give you a false sense of security, but then you could take off, usually you drop down the logo and you have a 3 or 4 star lock, which are so easy to pick. They look intimidating because you think you have pins on multiple sides on a spiral cylinder. They're shockingly easy to pick. There's lots of videos on YouTube showing how to do it. And that's a problem. So I don't use the hotel safes because they're too easy to break into. What I'll typically do is take my valuables with me, and if I don't, there's different options. Now, there's dozens of options you could use. I'm going to give you a few. Here's one, a book. This is a great book. It's The Word Exchange. Obviously, one of the most boring books by one of the most boring people. But what I do is I carve out the inside. You see that? The inside? Unfortunately, nobody's going to be reading The Word Exchange, but I can carve out the inside, and I can put, the iPhone 12 Pro. That goes in the book. I could put, my wallet. That goes in the book. Close the book. Bob's your uncle. You're good to go, right? Open the book. There you go. Now, would I recommend my iPhone and my wallet in something like this? No, I wouldn't. I'm just making an example. But let's say you got a couple things you want to throw in there. You put them in the book, and there you go. Nobody's really going to look for the most part. Now, this is what I call low security because there is a chance somebody could open it and check. And if somebody's ransacking the room and you leave that on the nightstand or in the drawer, people will check that. People will check the Bible. People will check everywhere. So, what are other options? Well, I've got a buddy who's in the CIA and he uses slicks. Okay, and a lot of people use slicks who hide things. What is slicks? Well, basically, they're inside of door jambs. And I've been doing this for years. What I carry around with me is a screwdriver. This one particularly has a lot of bits and it's motion controlled. I'll leave a link for it down below, but this screwdriver is incredible. Basically, you push the button, and by turning my wrist, anyway, none of that's important. I'm just a geek with my tools. I have a lot of cool tools. So, but I take this. This is my little James Bond spy screwdriver, motion control. It has a whole bunch of bits, and I just take the 3 screws out of the door jamb, and I put things behind the door jamb. Now, this particular one has a little cutter blade similar to a Dremel. I'll make a little slit on 2 sides, push it through. If you've seen the other video I did on Bitcoin Crash where I did that woodworking, that little puzzle, the Rubik's Cube puzzle, a lot of people have seen that video I did. And that's how I make some of that stuff in my shop. But in a pinch, I could take this, and nobody's going to check behind the door jamb. It's going to take me 30 seconds to pull out the 3 screws, open one of the door jambs. You can pick the top, the middle, or the bottom. Bottom's a good option because nobody's going to check there ever. They're not going to be like, what if they hid something behind the door jamb? Make a little slit, slide in. You can slide in cash. You can slide in cards. You can slide in SD cards if you got information. I know that some journalists do these kind of things too. If they got valuable information, they're trying not to get ransacked. So you can create your own slick in a pinch, real simple. You can also do the same thing in air vents, air ducts, anything that has a couple screws to take off. The chance of somebody hiding behind it is very slim. People, hotel staff that are stealing or people in there are never going to look there. Even if they ransack the place, people hide under beds, cushions, pillows. Those are all bad spots. You actually take something apart, put it in there, you're 10 times more likely to have 10 out of 10 results and nobody's ever going to check. Now, keep in mind, most people are never going to check your hotel anyway, but I wanted to give you guys a couple examples and a couple ideas how to have real extreme hotel safety on some simple stuff. You could take a book, you could take a door lock, you could take a little spy camera pin, and you could take this little screwdriver, and I can actually fit all this stuff in the book, right? And it just looks like random crap to the average person. but this is a grade A hotel security kit right here in a book. Throw this in your suitcase or in your bag and you're good to go. There are a handful of other items you can utilize. Let me know down below what you use for your hotel security, your hardening, your security. Now, I'm not trying to pick on any hotels. I've had mostly great, I've been staying at hotels my entire adult life. I've probably stayed at hotels between for business and work when I was younger and all this stuff, literally hundreds and hundreds of times. High-end hotels in Vegas, 5-star suites, and Motel 6 in my early 20s when I was doing construction, right? So I've stayed in every spectrum. I've stayed in the Super 8 under the freeway, and I've stayed in the penthouse suite. So I've been in all the spectrums from when I was younger till now. And I'll tell you, I've had pretty good results, but it's that one time, right? You get robbed or somebody takes your stuff. And so it's just good practice. Also, bring your bug detector, which I've got mine in my bag. I'll link that down below, but I recommend you watch that video because I really dive deep into this stuff. Appreciate you guys checking this out. Go all in everything you do. Stay safe in your hotel and in your life. You know, Privacy X, we believe privacy is a right and it's a right that needs to be protected. You can check out privacyxproject.com. We go a lot in depth, more in depth some of these topics, and also got the Privacy X podcast where I really break this stuff down way more in depth. So check that out as well. Really appreciate you guys checking out this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.